I wanted to comment on Mufiala Riggy G's 1 week sabbatical leave. Yes, I've talked of being related to so many senior people, and when you hear me calling Riggy G Mufiala, I'm calling him Mufiala in inverted commas. He's not my cousin, but the reason I'm calling him Mufiala is that where he comes from, my cousins call me Mufiala. So in Karatina, very many Kikuyu think that on my ID there is a name called Mufiala. So anybody within Madira can call him Mufiala. Even people like Riggy G, who is not related to me in any way, apart from, it's a walking distance from where my mother is buried, Kayaba. So mine is to make my own assessment about his 7 days sabbatical leave. I had already recorded a tape, a video, which had talked about the 3 terms of the deputy presidency. I talked about 2013 to 2017, deputy president, 2017 to 2022, deputy president, and 2022 onwards, deputy president. You can check that, but I would say that his biggest undoing is that you can remember somebody called Dr. Josephat Karanja. Dr. Josephat Karanja was the deputy head of state, and there is a lot of similarities between Dr. Josephat Karanja and Riggy G. Of course, I'm not talking about tribal, because this one is from Madera and the other one was from Githunguri. But what I'm trying to say here is that it is advisable for you, if you are to be the deputy head of state, to have had some political history. You can see both of them were green hosts. Karanja was made a vice president in his 2nd term, and first term he was an MP for Madare, and then the 2nd term he was the vice president. The same also applies to Riggy G. The first term he was the MP for Madera, and the 2nd term was. So you see, you are new in politics. You are new in, politics is a dirty game, Charles Njonjo once said. So you have to be, it is like you are what? You are an intellectual, a genius. I was looking for the word genius. You are a genius, and so you go to primary school. Instead of 6 years, you go there for 4 years. Then junior school, you go for 2 years. Senior school, you go for 4 years. And you find yourself in the university when you are 14 years old. There is usually that problem. You don't fit in that society. So for you to occupy a senior seat, you have to have a political CV. That is one of the problems that Riggy G has. He is so new to politics, and he does not have political background might. For you to have political background might, look at, let's start with DP Ruto. DP Ruto was made a DP in the 1st term when he had a strong political party called URP. When we go back again, we find that Raila Amolo Odinga was the prime minister. His getting the premiership was not on a silver platter. He had a strong following. So for you to be near the top, you have to have a political muscle. I think that I'm sure that Riggy G did not have, and even right now he does not have. Riggy G was the right person at the right place when we were going for the 2022 general election. He had a talent in only 2 things. His targets were 2. That was Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga. If you look at him, if you look at the way Riggy G has been talking, he has been talking of that. Then lately he has been coming up with one shilling, one whatever, shareholding. But then, which people say it's shooting yourself in the foot, because he has all the time been playing. He has all the time been trying. He has all his attention is to make himself the king of the mountain. But you see, you are supposed to be the king of the mountain before you become prime minister, or you become the king of the mountain before the king of the tribe, before you become the deputy as head of state. After that, you cease being tribal king and become the national leader. So, first of all, you are the tribal chief, and then later you become a national leader. But he became the national leader first, and then later he's trying to be a tribal chief. That is his undoing. And as I said, he had a talent in two targets. One, attacking Uhuru, and two, attacking Raila. But even though he brought a lot on the table in the two topics, but then he also he found an already cooked meal. He already found a cooked meal because Kikuyus had issues with the two. So he was only adding paraffin on a fire. The Kikuyus had issues with the two. One, the Kikuyus had issues with Uhuru because when the Kikuyus are the ones who pushed Uhuru to be the tribal king so as to prevent him from going to the Hague. And even when he wanted to hand over to somebody else, Madividi, they told him, if you don't want our favor, return it to us so that we choose another person. So the Kikuyus chose Uhuru. Uhuru did not choose himself. But when he reached there, he started loading it over to them. Where the Kikuyus were concerned that whenever he used to call them, he would dress them down as if they are a primary school head teacher reading things to parade. And there was even a question where Kikuyus were telling him, why is it that when you come to Central Province, you behave like a sergeant major, but when you go to Luo Nyanza, we can see you are genuinely pleased. So he was only adding to something else. Another thing, and that is you can take it to the bank, not even the central bank, but to the World Bank or even IMF. Very many generations, very many years, Kikuyu leaders have demonized Raila. They have said how Raila is bad and whatever, such that very many elections that are happening in Kikuyu land, a very big part of it is played by the fact that they are voting against Raila and they are voting against any person whom Raila pinpoints, except of course 2002. So you find that today, most probably Raila would have been the president if things would have played different. The first thing that played bad for Raila was he became his kubweka story. He became the government apologist. That is one. Two, and most important, first of all, Uhuru had said in Karatina, he had said that Orianga monia nemukamaka. That is a double-edged sword, that the person I will show you, you will be shocked. That is not a way to sell somebody. And so when the person came, Uhuru ordered Kikuyus to vote for him. So they voted. There is an element of voting against. You know, Kikuyus are not like, well, I won't mention. But we have some people, we have a tribe where the leader, when he says, today if he told his people that vote for JI-TENGE, they'll vote for me to the last person. They will not even ask what and what. Maybe they'll only ask to see if maybe somebody has changed the statement. But if they are sure that it came from the tribal leader, they would just vote for me without any question. So that is how they behave. But then the Kikuyus, you sit down with them. You sit down with them and reason with them. I am very sure that from the word go, those meetings at Sagana, where Uhuru could go and dress down the leaders, Kikuyu leaders, where he would go and he was decampaigning for Raila. He was decampaigning for Raila. If, Uhuru had told the Kikuyus that yangu kumi, ya Ruto kumi. The way I understand Kikuyus is that if Uhuru would have called them together and sat down with them and reasoned with them and then left them to make conclusion by saying, you see, I say it. Yes, I said Ruto kumi, yangu kumi, but I reached a place and decided A, B, C, D. How do you see it about it? Can you go and come back after 2 weeks after thinking that? I'm very sure the people in the mountain would have the voting. Hata kama Ruto angepata 60%, they would have gotten 40. And you see, Raila getting 40, you know what that means. That is one thing. The other thing that made the mountain not to vote for Raila is that Raila, I don't know whether there's a feeling in the atmosphere that Uhuru was to take Raila to the mountain, introduce him to the mountain, and allow him, give him a visa. Tell him, okay, you have come. Tell the people, can you listen to him and whatever. And Raila really waited. And I even remember Raila, the farthest Raila went into was this Kinagidhunguri area and whatever. So Raila waited for Uhuru to do that. If Uhuru would have said, jipiganie we mwenyewe, from the word go, I'm telling you, Raila would have gotten a lot of votes from Central. So Central people, unlike the others, Central, you don't go there and just tell them vote for so and so. I have seen that now. So as I'd said, he was only good in attacking Uhuru and Raila. But as I've said for a long time, is that already Uhuru and Raila were unpopular on the ground. So he was only adding fire. He was only adding fuel to the fire. Another thing that is may bring a problem to Gachagua is this story of one man, one shilling. And that thing has always brought problem in Kenya since independence. Yes, you can say that and be the king of the mountain. But then one thing Rigathi Gachagua does not know, and it's very surprising because he was a DO. That is what is surprising me. Because as a former DO, he's supposed to know that Kikuyus are everywhere. And making any decisions that are seen to be tailor-made for Kikuyus, most of the people who suffer are the local Kikuyus. If you count in Rift Valley, Gigi Kariuki was the first Kikuyu from outside Central to have been made a minister. Otherwise, they are shunned. They are shunned by the Kikuyus in Central and they are shunned by the locals. So if you are comfortable in Madeira and talk about Kikuyuism, I think that, but then there is a system that used to be called 69, which I called 69. You see 69 things, 6 and 9 are the opposite of each other, isn't it? Now, whenever there is need to add anything, constituencies, funds or anything, you count the 10, if let's say they want to develop 20 new constituencies, they take 10 from the most populous place and then they take 10 from the most expansive places. That one can only work. And the more Riggy G talks, Riggy G, what he's fighting now is to be a Kikuyu leader. But I can tell you, if there is anything that Ruto is going to be recorded in history as having done, is that count 2027 will not have, apart from maybe Kalonzo Musyoka, Luo land, Raila is going to Addis Ababa. Luhya land, you go to Vihiga. Vihiga people vote against Mudavadi. Wherever but if Mudavadi is with Raila, they vote for Raila. So I'm trying to say that as of now, where correct me if you can, I think it is only Luo and Kamba who have kingpins now. But one thing that Ruto will go into history as having done is that in future we are sure going not to have tribal kingpins. The story of shareholding. Shareholding is something that has turned other tribes against Kikuyus. So that you find him saying that we are going to be given whatever we are going to be given. It shows that if Kikuyus revolt, I don't see them revolting against Ruto, but I even don't see them voting massively the way they did in the last election. But if you want them to revolt against him, and you talk of shareholding, I'm sure Kikuyus, especially in the Central Province, will vote for you. But then, you are making other tribes. You see, I'm looking at Ruto, I'm seeing he has a lot of non-communicatable, non-talking communications. Like the 7 days sabbatical leave, he never talked, but he fought silently. So you'll find that he may use other tribes by saying, you see, the Kikuyus now want to take everything. So this thing about talking shareholding, it's a bit bad. You find that he talked of being the senior guard at the State House, where he'll make sure that Raila does not enter the State House the way he has been entering. But you will see that Obasanjo made a plan where they entered the Mombasa State House without him knowing, and that one also killed him. I do not see the possibility of Ruto having any other running mate apart from if Riggy G dies a natural death, if Riggy G resigns from politics and whatever. This is a position they are going to have, that they are, even if I don't see them being as hostile as Uhuru and Ruto were in the second term, but even if they become hostile to each other, this will be what we people in the 60s face. There are many times we want to chase away our women, but we say, hizi siku zote tumekaa naye, na hizi shida zote tumekaa, we just tunanyamaza tu. Anyway, I hope Kwatengeres is not watching this. So you'll find that I do not see a possibility of Riggy G not being the running mate. He'll be there unless, of course, naturally he dies or resigns from politics or does anything else. I will remind you of what Moi told Mama Ngina. Mama Ngina was pushing that the second term, Ruto does not become the running mate of Uhuru. But Moi said that one is giving out the seat. If you just declare that he's not going to be my running mate in the second term, that one is a sure license of being, that is a sure way of being a one-term president. So if Uhuru was saved because of that, I don't see Ruto doing that. And in my view, you know, Moi used to say that Anyang' Nyong'o was a professor of politics, and Moi used to say Moi is the professor in politics. If there is a professor in politics in Kenya's history, that one is Kipchirchir, William Samoei Arap Ruto. And I would really be shocked if Ruto decided to antagonize Riggy G. But you see, Riggy G is just there as ceremony. As I had already said in my tape that 2013 to 2017, Ruto was co-president, and 2017-2022, Matiang'i was the real vice president, the real deputy president, and Ruto was the ceremonial vice president, deputy president. And I said, and I repeat, that Riggy G at best he's assistant president. He's just there to assist the president. And you know, he's trying to make himself the Kikuyu kingpin, but the Kikuyus will have no kingpin. They'll not accept Uhuru as the kingpin, they'll not accept Riggy G as kingpin, and they'll not accept Ndindi Nyoro as kingpin. They have gone through that and they'll never go back there. They'll have just to stay that way, and that is my observation about Riggy G. He has found himself in what people say, when you're in a hole, the last thing you should do is digging. He dug himself more by saying shareholding, thereby making it, you know, when he says that and he goes to the Kikuyus, my people, and tells them that, you see, Ruto has not given us as much as we voted for him. Remember, other tribes are listening. It is like telling other tribes you can vote for Ruto. And you see, the Kikuyus also are not the people you decide for them. You give them reasoning and let them decide. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, it was a mistake for Riggy G to tell Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta openly. I think they should have used covert ways and then the things, but going to appeal him. But you see, desperate times calls for desperate measures. So he may have been desperate to call on Uhuru. But I can tell you from where I am that anything, where Uhuru has reached, anything that annoys Riggy G, I'm sure pleases Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Ndindi Nyoro is a future power in the mountain area, but I can tell you for sure, although he'll be a very senior person in 2033, is it 20? Yeah, after this the next, the sixth president. But I can tell you that the sixth president will not be a Kikuyu. No, will be another tribe. But I would advise young politicians of the next generation. You see, people are talking of Gladys Wanga being whatever. If you want to trust anybody, let that person not be a politician. Na Waswahili wanasema kisemacho kipo, na kama hakipo kinakuja. I'm saying so. There are rumors that Gladys Wanga. Who knows? 2032, we may have a sixth president who is a lady. That is why I don't like politics.